When we think about or you hear the term submission, what comes to mind?
Um,
Before you get
Immediately,
started,
go ahead.
let's talk about it.
So you're trying to say that your best friend or your friend can't be someone in the family, and it can't be someone that you're having sex with. Is that what they're trying to say?
That's what they're trying to say. I don't know about that.
I don't know about that either.
Quite frankly, from the Lees, secrecy has no place in your marriage. We don't talk about some things because we don't want to offend. We don't talk about some things because we might feel like it, I don't know, you might start pointing fingers at me. Hello, I'm James Lee.
And I'm Tasha Lee.
And we are Elevate Marriages. We are marriage advocates, marriage champions, all about helping you win in your marriage. We've been together 22 years as husband and wife. So we've gone through the peaks and the valleys of this thing, and we put out information that we feel like you can use, that you can apply and make practical in your marriage relationship. So we don't claim to be anything other than two vessels led by God, that we've taken the charge and accepted the challenge of putting it out there to making marriage look fun.
Well said.
Thank you.
We do not take this opportunity for granted to be before you for just a few minutes, just to drop a little nugget in your basket, right? And we hope that you will share this information. Don't be selfish with this thing. Share this information with your neighbors, with your family, or anybody who you think it will be useful to, whether they are married already or even thinking about getting married.
Absolutely.
We think this information could be useful. If you would like us to be your personal marriage mentors, please reach out to us at the Lees at elevatemarriages.com. Again, the Lees at elevatemarriages.com. You can also use that email address if you want to drop us a question or any video suggestions or topics or something special you're doing, date night, something like that. We're going to start spicing up that page a little bit, and hopefully with pictures and videos of you doing things that may inspire other couples. So we appreciate the opportunity. Now, submission.
It has taken on in the world, I'll say, such a negative air or what's like a connotation to it. Where I would say it's never been its purpose.
Okay, so when you're talking about submission, period, right? The first thing I think of is vulnerability.
Correct.
Of some sort.
You think of that, right? When
right.
you think in the word, the sense of the word, submission, you're vulnerable.
Okay, so before we go into the marriage part, which of course is just what we're about, just the regular word
just
submission.
The layman. So let's just give the Miriam's view of what submission is.
Go ahead.
The action or fact of accepting or yielding to a superior force or to the will of authority of another person.
One more time.
The act or fact of accepting or yielding to a superior force or to the will or authority of another person.
Okay. So in that aspect, I think that definition's pretty good because I think it would go with worldly or biblical.
Absolutely.
Okay. So no one breaks out Miriam's little notes every time they get ready to
have a conversation.
Exactly.
Right.
So it's what you think it is and what you perceive it to be. So we talked about this a little bit before, and I said, well, submission to me is like when you hold your little brother down and say, you're going to submit. Tap out.
Say uncle, right? Yeah.
Tap out, right? Give me that 3 tap.
Sure.
And he submits and you let him up. So.
Sounds like you've done that before.
No, never would I ever. Anyway,
Okay.
so that is submission, right?
Sure.
Or that's what I think of. So I am vulnerable to you, like the definition says. There is some force that I give into, and that's what submission becomes.
But it says force or the will or authority.
I gave into your will or authority
Okay.
because you were bigger than me, or you were stronger than me, or your force was, or whatever you were holding was bigger than me. So
Sure.
then I gave into that. I submitted.
Okay.
And so sometimes, now we're switching over a little more to marriage, I think, I know women want to be seen, especially today, as that strong and confident, and it is my will, it is my force that I am under the direction of, right?
You didn't say what I thought you were going to say.
What did you think I was going to say?
Women want to be seen in their marriage as equal.
I was not going to say that.
I know you did.
So I don't even know why you thought I was going to say that.
Well,
I wasn't gonna say that. Because I don't know if women think that. Now, if men think women think that, okay. But I don't think women think, okay, well,
I think
I
in
want to be
times
the equal.
you where we live today, you'll find that some women, not all, will feel that they're equal to men, and that is not and has never been the case.
Are we talking about now in marriage, or are we talking about in life, in the world?
Well, if you look at the world just in general, no two species, the male and the female, the male is usually larger, stronger, swifter. I mean, it's just natural science, right? But if we're talking about in marriage, definitely, because that authority flows down from Christ to the husband, to the wife, then to the children.
Mm-hmm.
So there's not equality in marriage. There is an anointing and a flow from authority, and then it goes down from there. Now, where I think this gets missed is because many times what's preached or what's heard, you'll have husbands that are going and say, oh yeah, Ephesians 5 and 23, it said 22. Is it 22? 22. Wives, submit yourselves to your husbands.
And then it ends right there.
Yeah.
They close the book, don't see the next 2 lines, and that's just the end of it. And they put that on their t-shirt and wear it.
Yes.
Okay, but if you keep reading.
Well, not even keep reading. If you go one verse before.
And then keep reading. Okay, so before and after.
Yeah. It says submit to one another out of reverence.
So submit to one another.
Yes.
So you submit to me as I submit to you.
That's what it says. Don't blame me, fellas. This is just what the word says. And if you know where we come biblical is what we are. But
and don't take our word for it, please.
Read it yourself.
Break out the book.
Read it yourself.
Break out the book.
It's there.
Yes.
But we get to that point and we read that verse 22 and we keep going, and it talks about because the husband is the head of the wife and the blase, but they stop before they get to 25.
And it says,
husband, love your wives just as Christ loved the church and gave himself up for it. So you know that Christ died for the church, for us as his people. So that love has to be a different type of love to say, I'm gonna die for you. So the submission piece of it, I think we miss it. It should take place in the marriage because you want to follow the model that the Lord put in front of us in his word.
2 things. One, I think wives or women, and we've talked about this before too, have sometimes given themselves or submitted themselves to people who were not deserving of that submission. And so when that was abused, now it makes you a little gun shy about doing that again. And usually that was done for a boyfriend or someone who wasn't your
somebody
husband.
who was not worthy.
Right. Or someone who had not submitted themselves to Christ.
Right. Because that's key.
Absolutely.
That is
so
key.
If I'm going to follow you, I need you to be following him with a capital H. Right? Give me something to submit myself to. I'm going to do that out of, as James said, reverence to God, but give me something to follow. Make sure you're following him so that I can follow you, And then the other part of it is men too have been trying to love some woman who was undeserving as Christ loved the church. She abused it.
Come on now.
And now he looking crazy because he doesn't love like that anymore, because he's been hurt and he realizes, or he thinks that's not the way to do it. You got to treat these sisters like this, or you got to treat these women like that, whatever. And so I think that makes him a little gun shy from doing it the way it's supposed to be done.
Right.
So now we're talking about in a marriage covenant. Right? We're not talking about all these boyfriends and girlfriends and all these other mishaps you've had before. We're talking about really doing it the right way. And like we always say, it starts today. It doesn't have to be, the way we did it before. We've been married for 15 years and we do this and this. It doesn't matter. Today is the day. When you know better, do better, right?
Right.
So when today starts the day that you can do it the right way, according to his word, so you can have the blessings and riches that the Lord intended you to have for your marriage.
I agree, 100%.
So put them bags down, basically.
Yeah, don't bring it into the marriage relationship. And just know that if you're living outside of biblical principle, you're probably not going to agree with what we say. And that's quite fine.
Nor will you get the blessings of the biblical principle.
No, you ain't.
Which was my next move. It's like you just know that it may not end up being the outcome that you want because you're not doing it proper. It has to be done in a proper way. And even if you begin down a path, as you mentioned, that it wasn't right, get on the path.
But today,
you know what it is. Get in line. And you mentioned about being worthy, or let there be someone that you can follow. Ultimately, you still want to stay under that anointing because it flows down to you. From Christ to the husband, to the wife, to the kids, so on and so forth. So you never want to be out of line and miss that anointing because it never repositions you from being under your husband to being above your husband. That just didn't happen. If your husband happens to fall out of line, kind of to the side, you need to make sure that you're still
ready to receive
that anointing from Christ that will continue to go down to your kids. And when your husband gets his act together, he can slide back into his place where he needs to be with prayer and fasting and whatever you need to do to heap on his head to get him back in line, so to speak, so that when he's back in there, that anointing continues to flow and it never stops because you have much responsibility as that. So just want to throw that in there.
No, that's good. That's good.
It's very, very key. If you're just boyfriend, girlfriend, shacking, doing whatever you're doing, that's your business. We're talking to married folks,
folks
and those that are preparing to be married.
Exactly.
You've made that up in your mind, and that's what you want. This is what it's got to be. And it's not a sometimes. It's not a every other weekend on Tuesdays and Thursdays. It's all the time.
One more thing while we're on submission. What does that look like? What is that? Yes, honey. Yes, let me massage your feet, honey.
Listen.
Yes, honey, let me bring you your coffee. Let me do all these things.
As men, we don't want yes women. That's not what we're talking about.
That's not submission. No? Oh,
No.
Okay.
That is not what we're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
We want a woman that is cooperative, that is feminine, that will support us in those areas where we may need it without there even may possibly even being me voicing it. But you just kind of know. I'm gonna support this. Those women that are encouraging when I'm there and when I'm not there, that build me up whether I'm in the room or I'm out of the room. Never tearing me down to anyone. Always lifting me up in prayer. Being that helpmate that God made you to be.
Now that's the tip right there, right? And for us, or for me, I always say that there is some vulnerability to submitting myself to James, but it's because I completely trust him too, that I can be that vulnerable, that I can submit myself to him because I can trust him with it. That's what I want to say. I can trust him with it. I don't believe he's going to take that for granted. And I think in turn, the things that he just said, that's what he wants. That's what that type of wife, or that's what submission looks like to him. I want to give that to him because guess what? He's going to give that back to me. He's going to support me and encourage me and love me and respect me and build me up and pray for me.
Absolutely. Guys, if you get in that position to where she's all of that you want, don't take that trust for granted. Don't, because it's very, very hard to build it back up. So
one more time, your rule is to do what though? To love me how?
As Christ loved the church.
Okay, so if you're doing that, okay, just want to make sure we're on the same page.
Do it, take it, apply it. We wanted to drop that on your spirits today. Hopefully you can take something from it, and it can come to you, and it might be a revelation to say, you know what, this is a change that I can make, or this is something that we can tweak in our marriage relationship to make it better. So that's what we want to put out there for you. If there's anything that we can do, say, pray for, you got the email address. Please share this information. Like it, subscribe it, turn on your notifications so you know when we're posting another video. We take this very seriously, and we truly take it as an honor for any time that you spend watching it or sharing it with someone else. So until next time, do the best you can until you know better. And when you know better, do better. I'm James Lee.
And I'm Tasha Lee.
We'll talk to you guys later.
Bye.
Peace.